Welcome back to the front porch. You know, one of the requests we get is to meet some of the hometown TV family. And Rod, give the camera to John and come on in. Come up here and sit. Yeah, Captain Rod Thomas. Rod is our chief videographer. He is in charge. And now that Hometown TV Today is locally owned and operated, Rod is in charge of Truth, Justice, and the American Way, making sure you get it. Now, when we do shoots out in public, people go by, they blow the horn, hey, how you doing? And me and John and Jordan were always like, it wasn't us they were honking a horn at, it's Captain Ponytail. And I will get into that in a little bit. Rod, listen, you have shot video literally all over the world. You taught school in Greensboro, right?
I did.
You were a rock and roll star back in the old hometowns in the home state for a long time. We're not going to get into that.
I'm a washed-up musician.
Well, and you've been a chief videographer literally all over the world. You've shot for all the major networks, done the racing. You've done sports of all kinds. You still get calls from the NCAA. How do we do this? Could you do this? How do we set the floor up at the NCAA regionals? You still get that call. But let me tell you something. You enjoy it.
I love it.
You live on High Rock Lake. You are absolutely part of the Hometown TV Today team. What a life.
Well, that's been one of the best things about this job, other than working with you and John, is I've lived here for almost 30 years, but I've always been totally incognito because I've been out of town 300 days a year. So I haven't really gotten to meet anybody in town until we started this, and that's allowed me to sort of get to know who's been my neighbors for the last 25 or 30 years, which is really great.
Now, you have literally produced some very successful fishing shows. Fisher's a Men that we run on Hometown TV Today is one of them. You enjoy your fishing.
Yeah, it's been, I guess, 15, almost 20 years ago. I was doing NASCAR racing and open wheel racing, and I was at a race in Bristol. Had a guy offer me a job for a one-day freelance on a fishing show, and that guy became my partner on a show that lasted on the Outdoor Channel for about 7 or 8 years. I actually got out of the racing business and went into the fishing show business full time. I had always fished on High Rock, sort of, as a hobby, a little game, but this guy brought it to me at a whole different level. And once I'd seen that excitement, it wasn't a hard decision to leave racing and do that.
Now, you're a registered captain, Captain Rod Thomas, Captain Ponytail. His rig behind I call it the fish wagon, between his truck and his giant boat, looks like a NASCAR rig when it comes flying up to the lake with all the sponsors and people that help support you. But you have several big guide tours that you're still doing around the year. You got one in the spring up on the Roanoke River.
Sure do.
What are y'all fishing for up there?
That's a striped bass spawning run, actually fish that live in the ocean 11 months a year that come in the river just like salmon do up north to spawn. So
big ones.
Big ones from up and down the East Coast, all the way from as far away as Massachusetts and New Jersey. Travel down the coast and come up this little tiny river 150 miles into fresh water to spawn. So you've actually got a whole ocean full of fish in a one cast wide river 10 feet deep. So you got them trapped.
Let me ask you this. When you take first-time folks up the Roanoke River, I can imagine their eyes get big. And does that excite you as much as catching the fish?
It really does. It reminds me of how much excitement I felt the first time I was able to catch one like that. And you can leave there, if you fish one day a year, feeling like you're the best fisherman in the world, because, an average day is 50 fish. A good day is 125 or 150. Man. So
you also do guide trips out of Georgetown, South Carolina, Winyah Bay. Now, I from what everybody's telling me, that's as much as a wildlife tour as it is a fishing trip.
It really is, and most of my customers actually come from Myrtle Beach. They're tourists, vacationing at Myrtle, and you know what it's like finding your little 2 feet of sand on the beach at Myrtle Beach to lay on. And this is the whole different side of the coast of South Carolina, because we're looking at miles and miles of backwater flats when you don't see another person or boat.
Alligators, fish, porpoise, birds, things they don't normally see anywhere. You're showing them. And that reminds me, when you're shooting video all over the country, whether it's for Hometown TV Today, The Front Porch, or ESPN or Home and Gardens, whatever, you're focusing on the action. So when you take folks out on a guide trip, I imagine you've got this habit of saying, take a look at that they don't really have the eye for.
Huh, maybe. I haven't thought about that, but that's probably true.
All right.
But one thing I've had to do is it's really tough for me, because starting out with a fishing show and a camera in your hand and seeing other people catch all those fish. So when I'm the other way, when I'm fishing, I can't even pick up a still camera. It's horrible for me because I just like to separate them. I spent so much time in a boat with a camera wishing I had a fishing pole, so when I get that fishing pole in my hand, it's hard to go back to the camera for any reason.
Somebody asked us, could we do some tips on Front Porch, get Captain Rod to give some tips on making movies at home. I said no, whole different, but he can give you some fishing tips. And you got several new on the water programs coming up. Some of them running now, but you have some shows planned through the spring, summer, and fall that are going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, we're going to do an expanded version of what we had last year. I've got some folks from North Carolina Wildlife that are going to get involved, and of course local fishermen. We're going to find some spots on High Rock that, if you haven't lived here for a long time, you might not know about. So we're going to try to keep the on the water segment going strong.
All right, if you see the red light on the camera and you're going through town, toot the horn on silent. You can holler and wave, but I appreciate what you do. I'm a big fan. Everybody else is. John, will you hold the camera still? He's doing pretty good.
I'm worried about my job security now, actually, to be honest with you. You guys are going to
Is
start
it on?
thinking,
You fixed the battery?
it's only going to take two of us now.
All right. Captain Rod Captain Rod Thomas, part of our Hometown TV Today family, and the perpetrator and prognosticator on the Front Porch. Hey, you keep watching. I got a surprise for you coming up.
A hometown idol comes home when the Front Porch continues.